go. Go. Good. That's a big fish.
Full hand on tail. Yeah,
Broad that thing is.
what if I was on the full medium?
Beautiful. Oh my. That's a big fish. Limp.
This would have been waiting for all day.
That's over 6. Oh. That's a good fish. Donkey. That's a heavy ball.
Oh my God, please get the net. Please get the net.
I got you, buddy.
That was the weirdest one ever. There you go. What the? Oh yeah, he's got another 4.5.
Oh my God. This might be it. If I can land this fish. Holy sh! 5.06. She's thick. Oh my God! Oh my God! Holy! What a beast! Dude, that's it! 4 pounds smaller. I need a picture. Oh wow!
That might be a 4. That might be a 4.
Yeah, it's a 4. You guys show that off to 4 pounds 12 ounces. Holy! Trailer just getting that. Yeah?
Yeah.
Dude, that's unbelievable.
He's still swimming. What happened to Mick?
Yup. 5.3. Sorry for freaking out. My first fish of the year. There we go. That's a big fish. Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes! 4.14 though. Gee. Not too shabby. Ad unmuted. Hello, everyone. How is everybody doing on this fine evening?
We have a friend.
We do have a friend. It's our buddy DJ. You can follow him on Instagram, 3D_fishing. But he's down here tonight to join us because we've been trying to get him on the show forever, but with his work schedule and the fact that you live, what, like an hour and a half away?
Yeah, about an hour and a half.
Yep, you're going to have to sit closer when you talk, too. Friendly reminder.
That.
Amateur hour. we just haven't been able to make it work, but we were able to this time, and I'm very grateful for it because I've been dying to get him down here. Hopefully you guys will have a fun night tonight because we are talking about goals. We're recapping 2022 goals for those that
Like
don't
Rocket
know
League?
us. Yeah, well, I have a lot more goals to go over than you do.
It's true.
There it is. You guys know us by now. And for those that don't know, that are relatively new to the stream, we are very goal-oriented people. Every year we pick something new to focus on. It helps kind of keep the focus throughout the year. It gives me something to strive towards. Well, it gives us. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what we're going to do next year, too, while we're at it. Just making sure I'm not missing anything. But in the meantime, let's see who's in the chat. Gordy, David, Kevin, Chris, Joe, and Bob, and David, and Jason. Hopefully everybody's having a fine evening. How was everybody's Christmas? How was your Christmas? I pointed to you.
You?
Me?
Yeah, you.
Mine was pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't
Andrew.
complain.
Andrew, how was yours?
It was great.
Yeah. Andrew got the greatest present of all. Which we are not allowed to speak about.
No.
Yeah. For a number of reasons. Anyway, this is a family-friendly podcast. Please remember that. Andrew?
I didn't say anything.
It was really hard not to. I'm so proud of you.
Drink of choice tonight. So we were down, if anybody saw our social media posts, we were down in Connecticut fishing for stripers on Sunday and made a last-minute decision to stop at Treehouse, which is like probably one of the best breweries in the country. Certainly in the Northeast, pending your palate. Because I know quite a few people that prefer like a few other breweries, but you could pick like, I mean, Treehouse, Trillium, Alchemist, and Bissell Brothers. So there you go. You've got Mass, Vermont, Maine, and
Poland Springs.
it's like they're all like 1A
Hill
through
Farmstead.
1D. Hill Farmstead. I think Hill Farmstead's like the only like, unequivocal number one. Maybe.
Depends on how close you live to it, I guess.
That's true. But from like everybody I know that's drank a lot of beer, they're like, yeah, no, Hill Farmstead's number one. So anyway, it's phenomenal. And it was well worth the stop, and it was awesome because we were in out in 5 minutes. So cheers to everybody. If
No Bassin
crack
Brews
it open.
language.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we're gonna cover a little bit of everything. First, what we can talk about though is weekend fishing report. Did you got out on the ice this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend I was out on the ice, and last weekend I was too.
Hell yeah! How'd you do? I mean, I saw pictures, but they don't know.
Pretty good. First time out was on the river, slayed some monster perch, couple crappie, nothing super big on the crappie aspect, and then went up trout fishing last weekend, Sunday. Broke out the new otter shelter. I just got the new
Ooh, which one you get?
the Vortex Resort.
It's like a like a
giant.
5-man
No,
tent?
this is like the 6 to 8 man.
Holy
It's giant.
I was
100
watching a thing on it last
103
night.
square foot fishing area inside.
It's huge.
It's amazing. It's like carrying a dead body. It looks like a body bag.
yeah.
Like, had it in the back of my buddy's truck, and he's like, "Dude, I hope we don't get pulled over." I was like, "Yeah."
Yeah, I think it's big. I've been watching a lot of videos on it lately. I might
It sets up
I might
super
upgrade
nice.
mine.
It's ridiculous. Like, the only downside is carrying it and hauling it, but the fishing space is amazing. Definitely, because I want to focus on getting out. One of my goals, start off a little early, is to get out and camp and spend the weekend on the ice more often. But I can do that with this bigger shelter.
There you go. That is something Andrew said he wanted to do too for this winter, was an overnight trip somewhere specifically for Lakers, or just fishing in general, or specifically for Lakers.
I want to go. Well, yeah,
Night Lakers can be pretty weird.
yeah, Lakers, and then at night probably just have a couple like a cuss trap or whatever.
Cusk or walleye, if you can find walleye too, that'd be sick.
Yes, Alec, it is the very yellow, and it is probably one of my. Oh, dude, and this might be my top 5 now from Treehouse, and I've had a lot of their beers over the years, and this is good. This is stupid good. So ice fishing was good.
Yeah,
We went stripers. That was
Jealous.
fun.
Super jealous.
We
of
did
that.
summer fishing in the winter.
Every year we're good for at least one striper trip. We're never going to tell anybody where it was because we just don't, and you should all expect that at this point. But the last 2 times we went last year, I went once with my buddy Dennis, and then we went the following weekend with Andrew. Dennis, and Andrew. And it was like that trip with the 3 of us was brutal. It was so cold.
It was
And
freezing.
I think we only got a couple of fish each. When Dennis and I went the weekend before, we only got a few. But this trip actually worked out really well. I ended up with like 30 of them. Andrew had like 15-ish, and Dennis was right on your heels with like 13-ish. We kind of lost count, so it was like best guess. But yeah, about... Oh, yeah, no.
No, May had close to 60.
I think you're right.
Bang.
Yeah, wow, we were saying
I might
50.
have
Our
been
math
up,
was way
I
off.
might have been upwards of 20 because it was
Towards the end, you were just lighting them up like
just
every other
one after
cast.
another. It was ridiculous. I mean, that's what happens when there's 10,000 fish below your boat.
Yeah,
Like,
oh,
literally. like,
Your arms just get tired after a while. You're like,
dude,
"Oh,
my back
man."
was on fire.
my back still hurts. Like I literally before I went to sleep last night, I had an ice pack underneath my back, and I was like, set my timer. I'm like, okay, 10 minutes in this spot, move it down 10 minutes in that spot. And I took 3 Advil, and I woke up this morning. I was like, yep, all right, here we go. It was
Tossing that A-rig literally all day,
Oh, it's
it
brutal.
hurts.
it's exhausting. And that, you know what though, the plus side about this trip was very little foul hooks, which in previous trips, I mean, it's literally hundreds, if not thousands, of stripers underneath the boat, and we're in like 35, 40. Most of the time, we're in like 30 feet of water. But like when you get one of those mega schools roll in, and it's probably the same on saltwater, but my experience there is basically negligible at this point.
It's pretty similar on saltwater too.
All right, and
I fish shallow bays for stripers on saltwater, but not like deep water. It's the same thing. When you get a big school that comes in, it's lights out.
You know they're there.
Yeah.
yeah, it's nuts. The Mega 360 I had set to 120 feet, so 60-foot radius. And it like you could see all the contours in the bottom of the river, and all of a sudden, like you could see all the black and white dots as they're coming in, the fish themselves, the shadows, and then all of a sudden it was like the screen is black. And we've had that happen multiple times, and it's usually in those instances when you're throwing anything like either Alabama rig or treble hooks that you end up inadvertently getting foul hook fish. But I think we only had like 3 or 4 like truly foul hooked fish all day. The rest of them, they
My
were coming
first-
up and like choking one of those A-ring blades.
My first fish on the big spoon. My first fish of the day was on the big spoon, and I got him right in the butthole.
Yeah, right in the
That was
noose.
huge. Damn it.
Like a big spoon like I was
Not
showing you
that
for
big,
like,
no. 5 or 6 inches or whatever. I don't even know how big they are.
I can't wait to get something on those
I
big
want that.
spoons
I
this
wanna
year.
get, is that the Michaels?
Nichols.
Nichols.
Nichols. Oh, yeah.
You
wanna
see
get
those
one
ones
of
that I had that
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
giant, oh my god.
Yeah.
I casted them a couple times this year and it's like, oh man, it's so fun. It's like a giant bladed jig.
Yeah.
You cast
really
it out
is.
there and it sits the bottom and then you lift it up and it's like,
Your whole round's like,
oh my, oh, this is nasty. Yeah.
Joe, honestly, Oneida for walleye sounds awesome, but there was something I
Konnichiwa,
forgot to.
fish.
I saw. There's something I forgot to bring up to Andrew about. I want to go for a southern fishing trip this winter if possible, and that's all I have the time to spend. But that does sound good. Mike, come to the Cape this weekend. All right. I mean, I have one of 3 options, and right now my top 2 choices are either Champlain or Candlewood, because I would like to go for smallmouth. But the Cape is an easy drive. The only problem is it's supposed to rain Sunday.
Champlain ice fishing?
No, open water up north. I'm dragging the boat.
I know.
I did see one of my followers there on Instagram. He actually had a really good day in Candlewood today for smallmouth. He only caught a few, but they were the right ones. He had a 5-something small. He had like 21 pounds on his best 5.
Candlewood?
Yep. Damn. So I mean, they're still out there. They're biting, but he said water is 37. So and water is dropping fast. I don't know, but I can't pin that comment from Oliver. Oliver, thank you very much. Member of 1 month.
That's pretty
Konnichiwa
brutal.
fishes.
Anyone that isn't a member of this channel is going to lose their PB in 2023.
Oh, speaking of goals and not goals, terrible. Carl, it can't be much more water temp, especially. Yeah, that's true, but if it rains Sunday, it's too damn cold to go fishing this time of the year out in the boat in open water with rain too. Forget it. That's where I draw the line.
Yeah, that's just not safe, really.
No, and especially if it gets like well below freezing, like rain when it's like 50 degrees or colder. Just period. I don't care about the wind, or if it's like well below 0 wind chills.
Oh, good.
That's where I draw the line.
Isn't that what we're getting all weekend?
Yeah, pretty much. But I mean, well, then another problem is, so like Sunday is supposed to be a washout. I have Monday off, so we go down, but there's no way in hell you could even pay me enough
Whoa, now.
to drive back up through all that Boston BS.
Yeah, no.
I'm not doing it.
There's
There's
2.5
no
hour
way.
ride down, 4 hour ride back.
And that would be going like, and that's the problem. You can't even go out and out of your way to get around it. You have to drive through some form of traffic at some point on the way home. F that. And you know what? That's enough out of you.
Yeah, I was just going to.
Next time I see you, I'm going to slap you the fish I catch.
Isn't he in California? Aren't they the fair weather fishermen?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. We're like, oh, God, it's like 50 degrees there. We can't go fishing. It's too cold.
Bring up the nibs, boys. Hit
Kirk.
60.
Where do you want to go south? I'm in Central Texas. Right about there. Somewhere down there. That's where we want to be. Carl, it was actually neither one of those, although we have actually fished both of those places. And, wait, no.
60.
Ashumet, we have actually
I
not
told you.
fished. I know where it is, though. John's, we fished once. We skunked. That was pre.
Is that when we
Spot lock.
went up the Dick channel?
Yep. Yeah, the old shaft.
Yep.
Right back into the balls
That's
at the
when
base of it.
I got my first hit on a glide that day.
That's right. That was 2018. Was that in the Skeeter? Spring maiden voyage for the Skeeter?
That
I'm
was-
positive it was.
Yes, that was not the first trip out in the boat, but
But the first spring trip.
first. Yes.
Or you like post ice out.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, we didn't. It was not good. That was not good.
It was blowing like 30, and we didn't have spot lock, and it was just a pain in the ass. And trying to figure out a lake like that when we're just kind of like trying to go fishing for the first time of the year, it was just tough. It sucked.
There we go. Oh, here we go. You know what? Before we get into the meat and potatoes of this, you guys can help out my friend David. Not the David here, different David. Anybody in the Winnipesaukee area right now know where there is A, open water, and B, that's 1 and 2, but A and B, a boat launch that accesses that open water. My friend is asking. He's going to be up in that area. I mean, he lives north of it, but he wants to get out there on Friday. So if anybody knows that, if you want, you can just shoot me a message. You can put in the chat, like entirely up to you how you want to go about doing it. That'd be good. And yeah, Carl, we've heard that about John's. And I I honestly think we would have done a lot better that day had we had spot lock, but it was blowing like 25,
Yeah, it was.
like steady.
It sucked.
It was
And
bad.
it was cold.
Take the roundabout way, 495 from the Cape. Yeah, it could be fun. Okay, anyway, we're getting off track. Let's talk goals. 2022 goals. Every year we set ourselves a handful of goals that we just kind of help to guide us. And it's funny because in years past, I have chosen like very extensive goals. Like I choose like 10 different things that I want to focus on. And it's almost always technique based. And then beyond that, it's like time of the year. Very rarely is it fish specific. For 2022, we'll start this way. We'll just cover like what each of our goals were, and then we'll kind of recap like how it went for each, and we'll just kind of go in order, starting me down the table. But one of the things I did do was I asked both on the YouTube channel and the community tab, I asked in Instagram stories, and I asked on Facebook with both on my personal page and the 603 Bass page, though no one responded to those. But everybody, I actually got a lot of responses on the YouTube channel and on the Instagram stories. So what I want to be able to do is not just talk about what we did this year and the lessons that we learned along the way. That's the most important thing. But also review some of the goals from other people, other subscribers, what they did succeed at and what they didn't succeed at. Because there's a lesson to be found in both of these. And then from that, hopefully we can find something that we can all throw our heads together on and pay it forward and hopefully set you guys up for a better year for 2023. So 2022 goals. Mine was both very challenging and also very straightforward. I've simplified it. The one thing was to take techniques that I'm already very familiar with and take them to the highest level I can. Specifically jigs, first and foremost, and then take that to anything else as it was, depending upon time of the year, like you get your jerkbait window, your chatterbait window, and so on and so forth. And take the things, like my top 5 things I was really, really good at, and see like, okay, just how much further can I go with this? Secondary to that, but kind of in tandem with that goal, was same goal Andrew had, was to catch a new PB largemouth. He specifically said an 8+ pounder. I just said new PB. Maybe I did say 8 in the end. But the whole goal this year with those two was also to focus on catching bigger largemouth more consistently. So really all 3 of my goals tied into each other because they all played off of one another. Trying to do something different with things I'm extremely confident in to produce better results, which at the same time was trying to produce bigger fish more consistently, which I had hoped to produce a new PB in the end or an 8+ pounder. So those are my 2022 goals. We'll recap how that went. But what was yours, DJ?
I have pretty similar goals where I'm always trying to get new PBs, whether it be as a fish, a tournament bag. Another goal is just trying to get out and fish more in general because with my work and what I do for a living is I'm a chef. So cooking, working weekends and fishing weekends generally doesn't get to happen. So I try to make it a point to like, all right, I'm going to do, 12 tournaments this year. I'm going to focus and do 2 or 3 bigger tournaments this year. And then just like you were saying is trying to really dial in specific techniques and or teach myself techniques that I know I'm weak at to become a more well-rounded fisherman is really pretty much my goals every year. And I think I did pretty all right this year.
You did pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
What about you, buddy?
Me?
I know it was the 8 pounder, but there was something else you had too.
I don't remember.
I honest to God think that it was probably just I want to catch an 8 pounder. Well, that you wanted to focus on largies.
I'm always want to focus on largies.
Definitely focus a lot more on your big baits too.
Yeah, that kind of just came out of nowhere. That just kind of started happening.
That's kind of how that happens.
I wanted
That's
to.
not like a goal,
I mean,
but
I
then all of a
did
sudden
want to
you're
get
like,
better
oh,
at bigger
this
big
is all I need
baits.
to
I
do.
did want to get better. I wanted to be able to. I mean, I didn't really mention it to anybody or anything, but I may have said something to you about it, Sean. But I just wanted to be able to consistently just have the confidence in big glide baits, and I feel like I did that.
I'm going to reverse this. I said like we'd share goals and then loop back around and go over success. We're going to flip it. Yeah, no, great success on the glide because so you bought it at the New Hampshire Outdoor Expo in March.
Yeah, so we set up the day before our booth, and I was looking over at the was it MGC?
Talk more into this.
M-
Yes.
MGC.
you're like over
And
here.
they have at the expos, they have if you've never been, they have a giant selection of big baits from all different companies.
a lot of good stuff.
And I wanted a Depths 250 in the worst way. So when we were setting up the booth, I don't even think you were there. I think I brought stuff from like that display from work.
yeah, no,
And I went over there and I was just looking. I was like, oh my God, they have one. Yes, thank God. And they had a bunch of different colors. And I saw the rainbow trout one. And I was like, that's the one I want. I want to bring it to a specific lake that I didn't even fish this year.
no, we never went, not once.
But I went back the next day during the expo. When I first got there, I went out and saw Sean. I wasn't even there for 2 minutes. And I was like, I will be right back. I need to go get that. It's still there. And
That's a lie. To an extent, like he literally walked in because it was Saturday after work, right? Because it was you were working
after
Saturday.
I got out of work, yeah.
He worked right across the street. He shows up. He walks. I'm like, oh hey, buddy. He's like, hey, I'll be right back. And he just turned around and left. like no pause. I was like, all right.
So I went over there, grabbed it, paid for it, walked over, and I was like, look at this. Look at this thing. This thing's stupid big. And my first fish on it was the day that we had that 27-pound bag.
Like a 3.5 or 3 3/4. I
It was
forget.
3 and 3. It was
Probably like 310.
It was under 4 pounds. It was a 3 something, whatever. But
Solid regardless.
I was so happy. I didn't even like realize what happened. Like when it hit, I just set the hook like almost as hard as I could. And I was like, I'm just getting this thing in. Got on the boat. Sean went to go run and grab the net, and I was already boat flipping the thing. Didn't even know how big it was. And
It would have been a 6-pounder and still would have boat flipped.
oh
it.
yeah.
All right, yeah, no, he did that several times.
And, I got hooked, and I just never stopped throwing the thing. And I literally would just go shore fishing with it if during the week or like after work or whatever. I would just go out and just practice it, and I worked at it really, really hard, and I figured it out. So
It definitely panned out. I mean, you think back to what we did on the season, and never mind the number of fish that you called out with that, but then your biggest fish of the year ended up being on that damn bait, that 6-pound, 10-ounce largemouth, which was funny because literally it was a week after I had Nate out there, and he caught a 6-pound, 10-ounce largemouth, the exact opposite in the lake on the same damn bait.
I was like, I need to do that. All right. So I did. And I mean, the amount of fish that follow those big baits, that's another reason why I bought the Gangcraft 303 is because it's 2 inches bigger. It's a 12-inch bait.
The drawing power is ridiculous, though.
Yeah.
You see so many giant fish.
It's ridiculous.
It's a fish finder.
Yeah.
It is, really. And I haven't caught anything on it yet. I have thrown it. But next year's going to be the year, this coming year.
Well, we'll talk about next year
I
shortly.
know.
So you
It's
did
not-
touch
I
upon your
wouldn't say
goals.
It's a goal, but it's going to happen.
It is going to happen. Of that, I would put money on that. You touched upon your goals. You actually did you lightly touch upon like how they went as well, or did you just kind of lightly touch upon it?
My goals for like
2022, like what the end result of them.
the end result was, well, so the end result of PBs versus, so like I always try and get a personal best, smallie, largie, whatever it may be, personal best tournament bag. Personal best fish did not happen this year. Personal best tournament bag, blew it out of the water. Lake Champlain, me and my tournament partner Alex got 22.10 for 5 fish. It was, the day started terrible. Like we just missed fish after fish after fish after fish until probably 10 o'clock. We only had like 12 pounds in the boat or so, and we were just like, man, dude, this is rough. Like, what are we gonna do? And then all of a sudden it just clicked on, and it was just like one after another, 4.5, 4.5, 5, 5.5. We're like, dude, what the heck? And we're like an hour from weigh-in, or an hour until weigh-in, and we nail that last one. And we saw 2 others that were blowing up, and we were frog fishing that day. Frog fishing and punching, my 2 favorite techniques, especially on Champlain. And it was just unbelievable. We go into weigh-in, and we're trying to play it cool. We're like, no, like, no, it was a pretty rough day, but no. The grin on my face, everybody knew when we got into weigh-in. They're like, how'd you do? And I was like, we freaking got it! Like, and my partner was like, I thought we were going to play it cool. I was like, I tried. I did. I really tried.
What was your total weight again?
22:10.
That's what it was. Okay, I was like, I thought we had over 22 in the river. No, I went back and looked, 21.24.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute.
That's what I mean. It was 22:10 because I've been trying to beat that for a while. And that's a 21.24. That's hard up here to beat in New England.
Yeah, anytime you get over 20 pounds on 5 fish, it's,
In a tournament, yeah, fun fishing's a little bit different. I feel like it's a little bit more achievable because it's
I mean,
not as
you literally have
pressured.
all day when you're fun fishing, and like from sun up to sundown.
Right.
Yeah,
But in a
limited in
tournament
that.
and actually weighing in, and then I realized that particular day, every single other tournament on the lake going on that day, we beat every single other tournament on the lake.
Hell
North end, south end, everything that happened. It was like, whoa, that's pretty cool.
yeah. That puts, it's a different when you do it on a place like Champlain or Winnie or Candlewood, because, well, I'm not too sure about Candlewood, but like Winnie, there's plenty of days during the year where you'll have multiple tournaments a day, just out of multiple launches. And then like Champlain, there's got to be plenty of days where there's like 5 or 6 tournaments going on at any given point.
Easy. That's 5 or 6 just on the south end, let alone the north end, when there's 90 launches up there and you can have, 50 tournaments on that lake going on at one time. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
It's a hell of a day.
The overall tournament season, I've been trying to enter bigger tournaments like the MLF tournaments. So I did
Is that the Toyota series?
yeah.
Yep.
So I do the Phoenix series because I can't
Oh,
get
yeah.
the 3 days off because of work. But the Phoenix series is a 1-day event. I went up there, high expectations. I know that part. I've been spending time up there pre-fishing, and I didn't come in to weigh in with a single fish. It was the worst tournament day of my entire life. And it wasn't that I didn't catch the fish. I just couldn't get them in the boat. I physically had 4 and 5 pounders come off at the net. And my non-boater had a stupid bag of like 18 pounds. And he was calling fish all day. And it was so hard to like doing regular 2-man tournament partners. We're like, he's throwing back fish and I'm not even keeping fish.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, dude, it was heartbreaking, especially seeing those big fish come unpinned right at the boat.
Dude, that's like, actually, I'm curious to hear from Chad on this too. Like, what's worse? Going out in a tournament and just not catching fish, like not getting bit, like day one we were having at Berkshire Classic this year,
Again.
or hooking into the fish, seeing them and losing everything at the boat. Because I've done both multiple times, and I'm not sure which one hurts the soul more, but I think hooking them and not landing them would probably hurt my soul worse.
I think that's the opposite for me because at least I knew that I was doing everything right and the fish were in the right spot,
It just came up.
as opposed to me not being or seeing fish. It was just something technically like it just wasn't meant to be. Like
That's true.
it just sucks. But if I were to fish all day and not catch a fish or see a fish, I'd be way more frustrated with myself knowing that I did something wrong.
Yeah, when you come in and you're just like, I don't know what happened, and you see people
Like,
have bags of
right, you're like, where were they?
18
Like
to 20
at
pounds.
least
It's like,
this way I can be like, yeah, I would have had 30 pounds if I'd kept them in the boat. Like,
Right.
We would have had 30 pounds if I caught every one of those fish that followed the glide back in that day.
Dude, we probably would. We legitimately would have had over 30 pounds
Yeah, I know.
between the followers. Like, and we both had followers, but I think I had like 2 to his 20, so I can't
they
really
were
be
all
included
over.
in this conversation.
And they were all like 6+, every single one of them.
Dude, it was dumb. They were so big. That would have been insane. Ugh. But yeah, no, you know what? I go back and forth on it because hooking into them, seeing them, and not landing them, then like I go home with like the horror of like, dude, I had it and I just bungled it. Versus like my last tournament of the year was for Ben's Tackle Shack, and I did that Kobog tournament. I literally never been to this pond. I did what I usually do for all, like, what we talked about on the stream a bunch of times. Like, okay, if you've never been anywhere, what do you do? I went through all my own exercises, felt like I had a solid game plan. First spot I went to, I had a keeper in the boat. Random, okay. A keeper in the boat in like 15 minutes. I was like, okay, we're doing good. And then I got bit, and I lost my second fish like 15 minutes after that. And I'm like, okay, this feels like, all right. I'm like, first half an hour, 2 bites, feeling good. I'll figure this out. And then literally nothing the rest of the day. And I left early, and I was like, I was just like, you know what? There's some days I just can't pull my head on my ass. I have no idea what the problem was, but whatever. And then it made me feel better knowing a lot of other people did the same thing, like just straight up blanked or left early, or they had like 1 or 2 keepers for the day.
Pretty sure I talked to you like halfway through because I wasn't there.
No, I fished it solo, yeah.
I think I had to work that day or something. I don't remember what I had to do.
You were working.
Was I?
Because it was on a Saturday.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure I texted him or called him or something. We talked later in the day. And I was like, how's it going? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, fuck it, I'm throwing big baits the rest of the day.
I did, dude. I grinded that piz so hard because I ended up sticking like a crappie that was perfect. Absolutely perfect in like color, pattern, size, everything for the piz crappie crank that I had. And I was like, yup. And I ground that thing out for like 2.5 hours. And not even a sniff on it. And I was trying a bunch of different cadences, and I'd pick something else up for like a couple of casts, and I'd feel nibble, like, okay, there's still everything here. So like I tried a bunch of areas, nothing. And then by like 12:30, I'm like, if I leave now, I can actually make something out of the rest of my day. And I was gone.
It's
If I leave now, I can go to the dump.
It's pretty split 50-50 in the comments with.
Yeah, I mean,
Just kind of like,
it sucks no matter what.
yeah, it does suck.
You lose
a
a fish, you lose a fish. You don't catch a fish, you don't catch a fish. It's going to suck.
Yeah.
I would just get in my head more personally, not catching anything. I mean, either way, I'm still going to be in my head because after that tournament, I was just like, dude, what the hell went wrong? Like, why couldn't there were so many fish. Like, I was in this one spot on the lake too. We stood there all day, and it was insanity how many fish were around us, busting up, blowing water, marking them. And like I said, my non-boater was slaying it, and I was catching them. It just, we'd get the net, they'd come unpinned.
Yep.
I mean, we're throwing the exact same thing, exact same
At the end of the
setups,
day, you
like-
still can't let your emotions take charge of what you're doing or
No.
what's happening. Because if you do, at that point, it's just like, what's the point of even being out here?
Unless you know how to get those emotions back under control.
Right. Like,
and that's the hardest thing. It's like,
I've definitely had, I don't know
Goose
how,
blah,
how
blah.
many times I've gotten just frustrated to the point where I'm just like, you know what? I don't even want to be out here. There's no reason to. I know you were there one day.
I was like, I'm waiting for my time to get in here on this conversation. Day
ahead.
1 of the Berkshire Classic.
Oh, no, not even that one.
That's the most recent
when you
example.
were on John with John. When you were with John in your boat and I was on my boat alone. And I was catching fish.
Oh, that day for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. That was the last time you broke a rod.
On purpose, yes.
Yeah.
on purpose. Oh, that's a rough one.
Yeah, that thing broke right over my knee.
That was such a weird day though, because like I figured it out like halfway through the day. It was a very specific color and it had to be in fluorocarbon. Because like 2 trips before that, it was just Texas Rig Cross. And like that was the answer. Because trust me, I tried everything else and then I was like, okay, well, like, all right, I've caught a fish on a Texas Rig Craw in this color on fluorocarbon in the exact 3 spots, like identical structure. And I was like, all right, well, I've got like fucking 30 other spots just like that. I'm going to pick up something else. All right, I'm going to pick up the Texas Rig Craw, same color on braid. Nothing. Pick up that green pumpkin, Texas Rig Craw on straight fluorocarbon. Pitch it right back into the same spots I got nothing on. Boom, 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 boom. Hitting fish left, right, and center. It's like, okay, that's literally the difference. And then we did the same thing again the next week on a different body of water. And I was fishing 2 different rods. One was straight braid, one was fluoro. And same deal. Like, pitching the braid, nothing. Pitch the fluoro right back at the same spot. Boom. Just started connecting. And then John's literally doing identical. Everything I'm doing except he was straight braid. And I finally picked up another rod. I'm like, this has fluorocarbon. Pitch that in. And like literally first or second cast, he hooks a fish.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the only difference. And it was one of those rare days where it was like something so subtle was the literal difference in getting bit, not getting bit. But yeah, that was one of those days for you.
One of our tournament classics we did on Champlain with me and my partner Alex was, we were out first day on the classic for our club tournament, and we found this one spot, and I was just lighting them up. I mean, one after another, and he's throwing the same setup, the same weight, the same hook, the same bait. It literally came down to the fact that I was throwing 12-pound fluoro and he was throwing 15. As soon as he
yep.
switched line to 12 from 15, he caught his PB.
No kidding.
Yeah. And we won the classic. Off of that probably 200-yard stretch. We weren't going to go back there day 2 because we hammered on it, and we're just like, there's no way. So we go somewhere else first thing in the morning. Wasn't working out. We go back to that spot again for day 2 and just light them up again all day.
Hell yeah.
And we're just like, I don't know why this is working, but all they wanted was a Texas rig crawl with a tiny, like, quarter-ounce weight and 12-pound fluoro.
Yep.
Anything other than that, they wouldn't even look at it.
I mean, yeah, that we've had a lot of days like that, and it's wild how like such what would be a seemingly non-issue becomes the issue, and you're only at that point you're talking the difference of like a couple of thousandths of an inch in diameter on line that should not be visible regardless anyway. But I think at that point it's less about line visibility and more about the action it is imparting on the bait on the fall.
That's what we were thinking, is the fall rate between the 15-pound and the 12-pound shouldn't really make that much of a difference, but it made a giant difference.
Yep.
To the fact that I was catching like 6 to 1.
That's
Like a huge difference.
the most recent example on that, and I'll get us back on track with wrapping up my goals so we can move forward, because I want to cover some of the goals. I mean, I saw them in the chat too. I want to come back to that. We were out up in the spot in Vermont, and it was me, Andrew, and we were guiding our buddy Tim. And literally all throwing the exact same things, except Andrew... did you intentionally mean to pick up that 3/8 ounce football, or were you like, I think this is half, and just rolled with it?
No, I went with the 3/8
Okay.
because I wanted to try something different than you guys.
And you had, what, 7 or 10 fish, I forget, to my 2, and Tim got none. And we were both throwing half ounce. Literally everything we were doing was the same, except he was throwing 3/8 and I was throwing half, which, okay, on the surface that makes perfect sense in a lot of instances, right? The one unique thing about this was all of our fish came from 40 feet or deeper, and it wasn't on the fall. It was like 10 to 20 seconds after it had hit bottom and movement had occurred. So how on earth could 1/8 of an ounce of weight make a difference in that case where they're eating off the bottom and you're dragging it? My theory on that is they're seeing it on the fall and they're just taking their sweet ass time following it along before they decide to bite it. If we had active target, we could probably confirm that, being able to see it drop.
Right.
But that's the only thing that I can think of that makes sense in that instance.
I wonder if you pendulumed it. Yeah, swinged it
Swinging it.
Swung it.
with the half ounce, if that would have made a difference, because it's going to fall slower.
True.
Or it's going to still fall the same, but it's going to
Yeah.
fall slower.
Right. I do want to go back because I did see, so I pinned it for a second, but we didn't get to talk about it. So Alec, on the topic of what would you rather have, not catching anything or losing fish at the boat. So Alex said losing them at the boat is 100% worse for me. I blame myself for losing this fish when I don't catch them. It's the fish's fault. I like that. Joe, losing fish sucks. I can think of multiple wins I would have had in the past few years if everything made it to the boat. Happens to most people, though, part of the game. 100% on that. Dave, 100% would rather hook them and lose them over not getting bit. It's mad frustrating going to weigh in only to find out you suck the most.
That's how I felt that day. I was like, man, that was a rough one.
Jake, how do you guys get around winterizing your outboards?
I have a 4-stroke.
I bought a John this season just so I can keep fishing. Yeah, 4-stroke helps from 1 to 2. We just, dude, if you're running at least once a week, you're good. You don't need to really worry about winterizing it. Just when you take it out of the water, make sure it's as drained as possible. Like trim it all the way down, trim it all the way up, and then trim it all the way back down again. But let it idle, like let it sit at those different positions for at least a full minute before you then like stow it like you're going, you know, you're putting it on the trailer, whatever. And that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years now, and it works mint.
I still winterize all my pumps inside the boat.
Yeah.
I'll winterize those like you would normally do with your camper RV winterizing fluid. And with the 4-stroke, as soon as I come off the water, I'll tip it all the way up, on my jack plate and tilt it all the way down, turn it on and off and dry fire it a couple times to make sure it's blowing out as much water as I can. And then when I get home, do it again, dry fire it a couple more times, and then just keep it down.
Yep.
And I mean, I keep my boat, I don't have a shelter anymore, so it just stays out in the lonely cold and snow, and it's sad, but I've never had an issue.
Yeah. No, it works.
4-stroke definitely helps.
What did Joe say? I'd rather not get bit. For my short-term sanity, I can blame the fish. If I lose them, I blame myself, and it's hard for me to live with. Yeah, see, I'm on the same lines there. Mike, thanks for joining. Sorry, I'm a little late to seeing you in the chat. Jason, I'd rather be skunked than lose a good one. I still think about the ones I lost rather than the days I was skunked. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I
still
go,
thinking about one of them.
I don't want to sound like pretentious or anything, but it's very rare that I get skunked because I'll
Yeah.
figure something out to
Yep.
get a fish.
At least a fish.
Right.
Yep.
It's very rare that if I go out like again, not to sound like I'm better than anybody, but there's those times where I know that I can get a fish if I throw this in this spot right here, without a doubt.
yeah. Dave, I learn more from losing fish than I do from not getting bit. That's the bottom line. Yeah, no, truth. Taking the skunk sucks, but it also doesn't motivate me to go back out. Losing fish makes me think of what went wrong and how to correct it, and that helps me move forward. Yep,
Yes.
that's a
Agree with
great
that
perspective.
100%.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, here you go. And the vibrations the bait causes when it touches the bottom. Yeah, good point.
I was thinking about maybe the different when
Joe.
it's on the bottom, the mud content maybe.
Yeah, that's
Or
a good
how
point.
far in it sinks when it hits
Right.
it.
If it
Yep.
sinks slightly farther, if the bottom's super, super muddy, then yeah, maybe it might sink in further that they can't see it. Hard telling, not knowing, I guess.
True.
I mean, if it's
Joe,
down
you
there,
take
they're
your
going to know it's
50-degree
there,
garage and
Right.
no
shut
matter
it.
what.
I know.
Boat
Garage would
sitting
be
outside
sweet.
with nothing but a cover.
Same.
I wrote it in the chat, but just real quick for everybody that's here, that's still watching, obviously, thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it. If you haven't done it yet, please leave a like on the stream. It helps immensely. For those that already did, thank you. For those that haven't done it yet, not sure what you're waiting on, come on, slackers, let's go. But, okay, so the other thing I didn't cover was my 2022 goals and the results. Check mark, loss. Didn't get my PB, working backwards here. And I didn't even come close. I was a little less than a pound off. My current PB is 7.33. Is that it? Yeah, 7 pounds, 5 ounces. My biggest of the year was 6.44 pounds. So not even close. But the two things I wanted to focus on was improve on expanding my knowledge and overall skill set with things I'm already really good at and catch more big largemouth more regularly. Lost count of the number of 4 and 5 pound largemouth we caught this
Jesus,
year.
dude, it was
Slayed
absolutely
it
insane
this
this
year.
year. Like, if we didn't leave a lake without like at least a 3 3/4, then it wasn't really that good of a day for us this year. Like,
No.
We didn't even really go to like any of our we did, but like our old stomping ground lakes, but like we didn't like spend multiple days there in a month. We'd go there, be like, we don't really feel like traveling this weekend. Let's just go here.
Yeah.
After every few weeks, we'd go out around here somewhere.
It was
And we catch like a 5 or 6 and be like, what the hell? Why are we going so far?
I think that was the most impressive thing about what we did this year. Whereas in years past, we had to rely. I wouldn't say had to rely on it. We had the benefit of choosing to go to the same pond, like sometimes 2 or even 3 weekends in a row, and then changing locations. Whereas this year, it was rare that we went to the same body of water in consecutive weekends, and we were still putting big fish in the boat all damn year. For me personally, I don't even know how many 4 and 5 pounders I caught this year. I legitimately lost count. I'd have to go back through and look. I do know that I caught 4 over 6 pounds. Prior to this season, I have exactly 4 fish over 6 pounds in my entire life. So I doubled that in one season. That makes me very happy.
Yeah, that's killer.
All but one of those was on a jig, doing something different than I normally do. So definitely checked off 2 of those goals. 2 out of 3, not bad.
And you
I'm
got a
very happy
Pats.
with that.
And you caught a 6.
And I got my Pats. And I caught a giant eye. My biggest fish of the year on the
Yeah.
Pats, too. But I can't remember. That's not my only one of the Pats, though. I think I have a few.
You caught. I think you got a couple when we went out to home base.
Oh, yeah, that night trip. No, that wasn't mine. That was the one that Gary let me use for like almost a year, actually.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that big one.
Yeah, the big rainbow.
Yep.
The Pat's Fat. Dave, you still here? Remind me
That's
which
what-
one that
I
one
think
is.
that's what it was.
But yeah, it was, I mean, all in all, great season. I can't complain. Trying to beat a PB is like, yeah, it's a good goal, but at the same time, it's kind of like a silly goal because it's like, how often do you get to really rely on potentially breaking a PB, especially when you have one that's already over 7 pounds and you're fishing in New England? Like, that's hard to do
Gonna beat it,
eventually.
but it's probably not going to be for. I mean, it could happen this next year. It could have happened this weekend.
I mean,
You never know.
if what I want to do in
Respawn, I'm
February
getting an 8-pounder, I tell you. It's
works
happening.
out and I can go to Texas, then yeah, it's
Yeah,
probably going to
of course
happen.
you're gonna catch a freaking 12 or 15.
Yeah,
or
but I
something
want to
crazy.
break my PB and get an 8-pounder in New England.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We were talking about that on the drive home this past weekend. This last Sunday, I would rather catch. What did I say? I'd rather catch an 8-pounder in New Hampshire than I would catch a 10-pounder down south, or something to that effect.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I still want to catch a 10-pounder down south.
I think everybody's goal,
but
besides the dudes in here that actually catch giant fish, is to catch a 10-pounder. And it's very difficult to do it here. It can't. I'm not saying it can't be done because it was done twice this year, or in the last 3 years.
In the last calendar year, maybe calendar year and a half, there has been definitively, without a shadow of a doubt, at least 2 10-pounders caught in Massachusetts that I know of.
Yeah.
There's got to be more than that. Those are just the 2 that I know that stand out. Now, how many 9-pounders? I have no idea. At least a handful.
I've seen 9-pounders pulled out of lakes in Vermont that we fished.
I would do unspeakable things to catch a 9-pounder.
Eric caught that 9.6 or whatever it was.
That was last year. I think it was just 9.2.
Still 9-pounder out of.
Was
that New Hampshire?
9.4? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That was northern New Hampshire. I know a couple of 8s that came out of New Hampshire, too. All northern New Hampshire. It's pretty wild.
That's crazy to me. I've seen guys pull 8-pounders out of 80 foot of water, too. Largies. And I'm like, what? Why is that fish down there?
I have heard a story from an
idea.
individual that would go unnamed for a variety of reasons, not all good, that someone, was it? That doesn't matter. Someone down in Mass, this is like within the last 3 years, Demiki rig in like 60-something feet of water, 8+ pound largemouth.
Yeah.
Like,
That's what I mean. Like,
I mean,
why,
they're
why
somewhere.
are you
You
down
just
there?
gotta go and find them, I guess. I mean,
in the middle of summer. That was like the other mind-boggling thing. In the dead of summer, that deep, Demiki rig, 8+ pound largemouth. That's awesome. That's just like mind-boggling, though. And I hope I remember those details right. All right, going back to the chat. And then actually, so I do have quite a few responses I got from people for what they were talking about for the 2022 goals. If anybody, I did see some up here earlier in the chat. I'm sorry if you want to reshare them, please go for it. I don't know that I can go back through and find them that easily or quickly. So if you guys want to share your 2022 goals and more importantly, what did or did not go well, then we can recap on that. But, up to you guys if you want to share it.
I did see somebody ask me if I hit hard water already. Yes. Yes, I've been ice fishing. Yes, I plan on going ice fishing more.
we need to go out again.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going to get you out and get some Lakers this year.
good. Let's do it.
So where we went,
hyped
the
all
very
year
first
about
time
this.
I went with you and Pat and then Chris and Grubb.
Oh, yep.
I'm
yep.
pretty sure that's
On the
where
river?
Chris and his buddy Jacob were this past weekend. No. That was Lakes region. Remember we all walked down the ice and we all had a great day. We had caught like a bunch of smallmouth. There's that big hump in the middle. And then I walked back to the ramp and everybody was like, there's 18 inches of ice. I'm going back to get my truck. And you guys
Yes.
all drove back out there.
That's one of my goals for this year is to go back to that lake now that I have a more well-versed knowledge of ice fishing and the gear to ice fish.
Yeah.
Because when we went out there, I had no idea what I was doing. And it was like a starter. But those were literally some of the biggest perch I've ever seen in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
There's some big perch out there.
When we were catching 14, 15-inch perch on medium heavies, I mean, like fishing for bass, catching perch, it was unreal.
Yeah.
And now,
I'd like to
I've
go
got
back.
the Vex and all the gear and everything, and I've spent time targeting perch, especially through the ice. I really want to go back there and just hammer on them.
I'm pretty sure that's where Chris Ellis, Mr. Tightlines, and his buddy Jacob were this past weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And they lit them up. Mostly largely, though. Only one good smallie, but they had a phenomenal day out there. I'd like to get back there again.
There's good trout in that lake, too.
Yes, there is. I actually only open water fished that place once this year. It's kind of disappointing. By the
Where?
time I wanted to go back,
Oh. Yeah.
um,
Yep. I know what you're talking
water was too low, so you couldn't launch. Sucks. It is what it is. Anyway,
Hell of a drive for me.
yeah. it is.
Totally worth it, though. Oh, my gosh. Those were giant perch.
Z-Fish, we know how you guys have developed a high sense of confidence with the jig in New England. Do you think that there's other baits that have had that potential but are still untapped for, I'm assuming he meant 2023?
I mean, his strong
for
baits
us?
are jigs, but mine are not jigs. And so that was a goal that I did this year was learn and teach myself how to fish deep and how to fish a jig. So like my techniques are far different than these guys' techniques.
Yeah, everybody has their own technique and how they
And I mean,
fish.
I put a slaying on him with a punching rig all year long. Like if there's any sort of grass and it's March and I see grass, I'm going to throw a punching rig
Yep.
and I slay it.
You know what? So trying to think along the lines of his questions where, like, what else? I'm assuming he meant specifically for us that has that same potential of output that the jig has been for us.
It's hard. Jigs catch pigs.
Carolina rig. And it's something I've done a lot of in the past and only kind of dabbled back into again recently.
Not a favorite mate.
But given what you can do with it,
deep water
how
fishing, I
differently
don't
you
like
can
it.
use it, like shallow, deep, doesn't matter what you throw in there for the back of a trailer. Like, I think Carolina rig, if I really focused on that for 2023, it could produce the same, if not better results than what a jig did. Or spinnerbait. Because there's 1,000 things you can do with a spinnerbait that I still really haven't done on a regular basis.
I'm pretty confident in the spinnerbait, but 2023 is definitely going to be a year. And I had a Carolina rig tied on all year just because I know people slay it up here and I just can't. It's like you with a jerkbait.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love throwing a jerkbait. Slay it on a jerkbait. You?
I
Not
kind of
so
do.
much.
I'm getting better with it. Although, you know what? I did a lot better again this fall. I had a couple of days where I just went out and like stuck it out, and I was rewarded for it. I had some good days with it, and more importantly, I was able to recognize the difference in what was changing throughout the day, figure out myself what the adjustment needed to be, and made the right decisions and capitalized on it. That, more than anything, was the biggest confidence booster I needed.
Right.
Again, because I've had this happen like 3 times over the years.
Jerkbait's fun.
It
like
is. It's so
when you're
much
catching 4s and 5s in the fall and the spring on a jerkbait, and it's just like dunk, dunk, dunk. Nothing. Oh my god.
Oh, wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Oh geez. And it's smallies too, on like river fishing on the smallies. That's where I learned to fish jerkbaits, and they just come unpinned.
dude.
And you've got to fish it fast. Like,
I was doing that in the fall, like late fall, 3 years ago, with a jerkbait. I was like, I should really be slowing down. Really, really should be slowing down. I was just sitting there, whack, 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 whack. Whack, 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 whack,
Yeah.
whack, and it's a 6-pounder.
yeah.
Like, what the hell?
It really draws that reaction bait. Like, some people are always like, yeah, it's cold water, throw this, and you got to let it sit for 45 seconds. Yeah, that works. But if you want to draw a reaction bait to a big fish, going fast like that, it's what I found to be better sometimes, especially for smallies.
Yeah, it kind of opened my eyes when that happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite thing about jerkbait bite. Yeah, no, easily. Hands down, my favorite way when I get better at jerkbait is like you're like twitch, and you see your rod tip, and it's in the middle of the pause, and you just see like the last, like the tip of the rod, and then the next guy down, all of a sudden just goes, it just lightly ticks over, and you can barely feel the fish, but you can see just the very tip of the rod go, and you're like, yep.
Yeah, I like it. I like it when you're on that big, like, heavy jerk, like snap.
Yeah.
It's like boom. It's like, oh no.
Oh yeah. No, that's when I was first learning how to use a jerkbait, and I was like, okay, I got this figured out, and I was trying to explain it to people that were still struggling the way I was. I was like, the best bite I can tell you that is like very easy to figure out is you'll go like jerk, jerk. Like that's kind of your cadence, and you'll feel a little bit of resistance from the line or the bait if you got too much tension. But then when you hook a fish on that, like in between those and they bite it, it's like jerk, and then it feels like you hooked like
Into a
at
spring.
into a spring. It's like whoop, whoop. You're just like, oh, wait a minute.
Oh, hello.
It reminds me of like if you're pumping a spinnerbait, like you're just rolling a spinnerbait and you just womp, womp. And then every time I pump my spinnerbaits, that's when I get my bites. And it's after that womp, it's just like, oh my God.
Oh,
it
yeah.
just unloads. And you're just like, oh, okay.
Last point before I go back to the chat. My absolute favorite spinnerbait bites is, and I love doing, is fishing it close to heavy cover.
Yeah.
Especially like around boulders and stuff. And it's like right when you get up to it and they ambush it from the side, and you can see your line go from like heavy taut to all of a sudden just goes twang. Like
Yeah.
it just
Yeah.
knocks so much sack, and you get this giant S loop of slack in your line. You're like, yeah.
Or like when you're fishing a chatterbait super fast and it comes up behind it and smacks in
Oh
your
my
line.
God.
Same thing. It's like, bleh, it just almost knocks
Just
on
can't
you.
reel
Yep.
fast enough too. You're like, oh, come on.
That's why I like fishing braid on, and I have so many people that are like adamantly against like don't fish braid on your jackhammer. I'm telling you, it makes the difference.
Huge difference.
Some days at least in the spring, it's like the thing, and like especially that braid, you get that feedback and it's like
I feel
vibrate like
you
hell,
can
and all of a
slow it
sudden,
down too a lot more, and you get
Yes.
the feedback from it. So if I'm doing that, I'll do a braid to fluoro leader at least, but I won't ever go straight braid unless I'm. Sometimes when I'm up north at the lake we fish, and it's out back and it's super weedy, they don't care.
No,
it's
they don't.
being moved through the weeds and the grass, and early spring they're just angry and hungry. So,
yep.
but you can slow it down so much and feel each
Everything.
individual vibration.
Yep. And then you feel that, like, especially when you're working kind of hard and it's got like a really vibrant, like you feel it vibrating up to your elbow and all of a sudden, like, you're still reeling, but there's no vibration. You're like, oh, wait a minute.
Oh, I think there might be a fish on that.
Right. And that's hard to pick up on
Yeah.
fluoro a lot of the
I
times.
did have a goal of getting better at fishing open, like open water, like in the middle, fishing deep, like moving baits, like Okashira and
Yeah.
spy bait. I did do that a lot, and I did catch a giant smallie that way.
That was actually, I'm glad you brought that up. That was actually one of the goals that we had just kind of developed. Like, we talked about goals on the stream last year, especially 2022 goals, like recap 2021.
It's one of those natural goals that just kind of happen.
Yeah, like we're just talking about in the spring, or like that's something we should work on this year, is like that mid-water depth. And it just became a goal for us for this year, and very nice. It worked out really well.
My first big fish on the Okashira was a 5 1/4 smallie. And
Yeah.
that was, I didn't even know
Would've
it
been my
was
PB,
eating it. I literally
jerk.
felt like I was just ticking the top of grass. It was like, I'm like, what the hell? There's no grass out there. It's 50 feet deep. And I just moved the rod forward and it just went, I'm like, oh, fuck, shit. Oh, no.
Oh,
That was a cool
I know.
catch.
Ah, interesting. I don't know who that is, but
He's a good dude. You want to fish with him.
Who?
Sir Altitude.
well, he knows my buddy Cook, so
There you go.
Chris Cook?
yeah.
Is that his name?
Yep.
Yeah. He's the one that always goes for
Jerry,
walleye.
do you guys have rivers up
No,
north
he's,
not
he's
frozen?
my buddy who could go like lake or
How far
fishing,
north?
and we go ice fishing together all the time.
As far as I know, I don't think the Merrimack's frozen right now.
Merrimack's probably not frozen, but it's probably really high.
Yeah. Well, by now, it actually may have come down. It's far enough after the
When did
rain.
it rain last?
Well, if we get a lot more rain this weekend, I guarantee you it's going to be really high again.
Yeah.
Which sucks because that would be like a backup spot for Monday. I really want to fish there. But if we get as much rain as they're saying Friday and Saturday, Saturday and Sunday, it's just going to get all washed out again.
Suck.
I've got about 30 snowboard trips to get through before I go out fishing again. Still hear you guys talk about fishing through the colder months. Well, appreciate it, buddy. Although I got to get out snowboarding too.
Yeah, I do want to go at least a few times this year.
I sold all my snowboard gear for fishing gear.
All right.
Sad.
That's okay.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I mean, it's sad because I love snowboarding, and I wish I still had my snowboarding gear, but I have some pretty sweet ice fishing gear.
So let's
I want to see that
go
new shelter.
community. All right. So on our channel, where you're at right now, obviously, if you go, like, if you're to go back to the homepage on our channel, you would see there's like videos, live, shorts, community, so on and so forth. In the community tab, that's where I usually post like random information. I put a lot of like exclusive stuff for channel members only up there as well. And I posted on there last week, the day after last week's show, asking for the same thing. Like, how'd your 2022 go? So I've got some here that we're going to cover. So from Kevin, which, did I see Kevin was in here? I think I did. My goal this year was to get better with deep, clear water techniques. Drop shot, finesse jig, deep crank, etc., and catch more smallies. I'm more of a shallow, heavy cover, largey guy in general, so I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. Overall, it's pretty successful. Definitely a work in progress, but happy with the results. One important thing I've learned this year is that I'm improving my skills just by having one simple goal out each time. One technique or lure to really work on. Next year, I need to work on my jerkbait confidence. See, that's like a perfect way to go about your year, too. Yeah, Kevin is here. Hey, buddy.
It's a good way to do it day by day, too. Like, I'll do that a bunch, too. It's like, all right, I'm going to go focus on throwing this as much as I can all day before I get sick of it, or
Until I catch something on it.
Yeah.
And then I want to catch more fish on it.
Yeah.
just try and figure that bait out for that day. And I'll do that by myself sometimes, and I'll just go out and have 2 rods on my deck all day just so I can learn how to do that technique.
I haven't done that in a long time, but when I first, so 2007 was the first year my dad bought our first bass boat, and I was using it 3 to 5 days a week. And that was when I was like, I had already started the process of trying to learn new things from my John boat. And then all of a sudden I'm in a bass boat with all this more real estate to carry stuff around. I was like, okay, now I can do whatever I want. And I had that focus. But again, I was fishing 3 to 5 days a week. and I was reading everything I could get my hands on. Bassresource.com was my best friend. I was reading everything over there. So I'm like going through reading. I'm like, okay, well, this time of the year, let's see what articles come up. Read through and like, okay, shaky head. Shaky head, the fuck's a shaky head? Start reading about that. I'm like, huh, okay, that actually sounds like right up my alley. At that point, that's when I was fishing with our buddy Rafter a lot. So I was like, shaky head. That makes sense because I know from the last weekend I was out, water temps are about where all these articles say this should be good. And I would go out there with just that one singular focus, text Rafter, hey, buddy, we're going to work on shaky head. What the fuck's a shaky head? Don't worry, I read about it. I got you.
Yeah.
I bought everything we need.
What's a shaky head?
And we go out there and we'd focus on that one thing for a whole week. And it was like a day or two to figure it out, get comfortable, and then like to really hammer it in and be like, okay, yep. I just had like out of my 5 days of fishing this, I had 3 really good days. I kind of figured it out, and then I reconfirmed everything I figured out, and then I mastered everything I figured out. Next. Okay, what's next? Spinnerbait. Spinnerbait sounds great. Let's go to that.
Yeah,
And
PB.
just like, we just kept going and going and going with that. So like, it's a great way to go about your goals for the year, for the month, for the week, whatever it is. Yeah, no, I like that approach. Bill Gibson. Bill, were you here? I thought I saw Bill here. My goals were to win Angler of the Year for my 3rd consecutive year, win our 3-day championship 2nd year in a row, and catch a bag over 20 pounds in a tournament. And I accomplished every single one.
Hell yes.
I was
Good,
able
that's
to weigh
awesome.
in.
Congrats.
What was your best tournament bag again?
2210.
I was able to weigh in 22.54 on one event when the average weight was 10 pounds. Can't wait for next season to start.
Dude, that's killer.
That's
Hell
a
yeah.
phenomenal year.
That-
Anybody would be
That
happy
day
with that.
puts a smile on your face.
Damn right. What are you
I'm
showing?
checking it.
Oh, his ice house. Well, while they're doing that, Swamp Rat Fishing, Alex, who we had from
trip was
Bass and
forward
Brews
to.
podcast. We were a guest on their show. They came on our show as guests. He said, great idea, man. Goals to grow the Bass and Brews podcast more, explore more bodies of water around me. I will tell you, I think that the
wouldn't
biggest
fit in
thing
here.
to helping you learn is to fish different bodies of water more than it is to hammer the same body of water over and over again. There is
I love
benefit
it.
to
So
both,
much
but I
fun.
think traveling is much more beneficial to you than fishing the same spot because fishing the same lake over and over again, you still have to fish the moment. You have to fish the pattern, but you can start to see relatively more consistent patterns within a singular body of water. Versus if you're constantly traveling to different bodies of water, there's so many more variables. And if you can become comfortable figuring out the bite on the fly on a different body of water every single weekend, then I honestly think that makes you a better, more well-rounded fisherman than anything else. And that's my personal opinion based on all our experiences. I learned more from traveling than I did from fishing the same pond over and over again.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely true. I mean, I'll say that too. Is like, I've got lakes where like, hey, I want to go throw this particular bait today. So I know that if I go to this lake, that bait's not going to work at that lake. Never caught a single thing on that bait. Never going to. I don't know why, but like, I want to go throw a shaky head. There's a lake that I know that I can slay him on shaky heads and try and learn how to do that better on that lake versus if I'm going to fish the river, throwing a shaky head on the river, I'm probably not going to get a fish. Like I just have that
You have that
traveling
feeling.
to different lakes and different bodies of water, be a pond or river or something like that. Like you don't throw, each one's got its own unique bait that works well.
Right, because sometimes the bait fish, like the forage in that
Right.
lake or river, could be completely different. I mean, kind of proving it, though, that like it's ponds that don't have trout in them, I will throw the trout depths in there all day long and catch largies on it. Like,
Right.
but there are some places where it's like you throw a shaky head down in the river and it's just like,
Exactly.
it might not work. It could. It might.
You throw a jig in the
But-
river,
Yeah, right.
more likely to get something than.
Unless you throw like a half or 3/4 ounce shaky head on there, and then
Right.
and then with a craw on it or something.
True. You could do that.
Hey, that's my face. Hey,
Adam, he said, wow, chicken toilet ate, so I sent your frowny
oh,
face.
Sheba.
Oh, David. David's a regular. My goals went great. April 1st. Oh, April. First fish of the year, 6-pound largemouth. July got a
Dang.
19-foot Ranger boat. In October, got a new PB smallmouth, 5 pounds, 2 ounces.
Sick.
Goals for 2023 are to learn Newfound, Squam, and Winnie now that I have a boat that will handle that water. Hell yeah. Congrats on the 6-pound largie.
New
The-
boat.
new boat, and the PB that's bigger than mine, I do not congratulate you on. I'm jealous. Sure. I've been trying to catch a smallmouth at least that big. It's like awesome but annoying that I had a 5 even, and then a 5 even, and a 5.04, and then a 5.06. It's like, come on. Like a PB's a PB, but come on.
5.66 for the last 2 years.
Shut up.
I got 2 5.3s and 2 5.4s this year, but I can't break 5.6.
Damn.
Damn.
Yeah, it's.
And I know I've seen it been done at this lake all the time.
Yeah.
During that tournament.
Yeah, that was
Guy had a
super.
Too much details.
giant.
I thought we had it in the bag that tournament too.
No, you didn't.
No, no, we definitely did not.
Not with 27 pounds.
No.
Yeah.
I was
No,
like,
you guys had a hell of a
I was
bag
like,
too.
dude,
and
we
then-
you
freaking
did.
killed it. We lit it up, and then we were like, no.
Damn
I
it.
mean, we go back to weigh-in too, and everybody's like, man, it sucked, and we're like, sweet, like we got this.
Yeah.
This is gonna be awesome. And then we're like, oh, okay.
See the
Dang.
size of that
Like,
dude Smalley
whoa.
over there? Son of a bitch.
See, we had the polar opposite thing. We came in like, shit, we blew it again. Second year in a row, this sucks. And everybody else is like, man, we didn't catch shit. And we're like, well, hang on.
Wait, we have a chance.
Yeah,
Like,
day 2,
wait
you
a
guys
minute.
absolutely slayed it.
Yeah, day two we did rebound. But day 1, like, dude,
Second year in a row.
oh my God. If it
I don't
wasn't
give
for
it.
those,
I don't care. Next year, I'm throwing that damn glide bait all day.
yeah, no, I mean,
all day.
that's a worthy gamble.
We'll have
And
to
I'll be
see
right
what the
beside
weather
you.
conditions are next year though, because this year was unseasonably warm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that was stupid. And
Like-
drought and all the offshore impacts it had negatively. Just weird year.
Super weird year.
And last year was just stupid high wind, and we were right on the heels of the turnover.
Yeah.
So it was
It
like
was
a
that really like it was much colder last year too.
bad.
That wind and the weight, everything just sucked last year on that lake.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I mean, I
Alright.
was sitting down on the back of the boat catching fish.
I was sleeping this year on the back of the
You
boat,
lead
not
right to
catching
it.
fish.
It was like an hour and a half, no, like maybe 2.5 hours in the day. I looked at him, I was like, dude, if you need to like take an hour to yourself,
Oh, day
and just
1, I
sleep,
remember that. Yeah.
I was like, then just do it, because then you at least have a chance to maybe feel better for the rest of the day, and you won't be miserable for the rest of it versus trying to grind it out, feeling like shit. He's like, all right. Down he
Just
goes.
fell down and fell asleep.
I'm like trying to fish quietly. I'm like, I don't want to wake him up. Like totally just everything window wise out the window. All right, tournament wise out the window. And then I set the hook so loud and violently.
And I was
on,
dead asleep.
what was that, like a 10-inch largemouth?
Yep.
And like I barely even like got my balance reset from the hook set, and he's already like up on his hands and knees, like, oh, get the net.
I heard it, and it's just like, up, like springs. Just sprung right up, grabbed the net right next to my head. I was like, "God, let's go."
Dude, I was dying.
Man, I don't care how hard I'm sleeping, how much I'm passed out. You could be like the house next door, and you'd be like, hey, you want to go fishing? I'd be like, huh? What?
Yeah. I heard that.
I've been asleep for 10 minutes. I've been awake for 32 hours. I don't know. You want to go fishing? I'd be like, yeah, let's go.
Yeah,
We did have David, any bass addict. 2022 was good, not great, but not bad. Had a ton of 4s, handful of 5s, and 1/6, which ended up being a new PB at 6 pounds 6 ounces. I do remember that, so I can't complain too much. New large and small PBs are on the menu for 2023, of course, but I want to end the year with my top 5 fish over 30, and I want a 6+ on a big glide. I struggle with consistency, and by that I mean finding big 5+ pound fish on a regular basis. Aside from that, 2023 will hopefully be a year of exploring more new water to challenge my ability to break down water, break down structure, apply what I learned to my decisions on the water, and find big fish. Yeah, hey, no, dude, like you said, nothing wrong with that. That's for damn sure. That's a good year, and I like where your head is for 2023. Wait. Great names in here. Smash the subscribe button. Thanks, Ryan. Oh, whoops, I forgot to hide that comment. My bad. Here, let's just put that one up there. Thanks.
he just thanked you for leaving it up.
He did. Damn, that was
Special.
only 5 pounds smaller than I caught. PB was 4 something for 20+ years. Damn. Anyone ever F around with 13 fishing, Banff, or Dine? I don't know anybody that fishes 13 fishing, unfortunately.
The only 13 fishing stuff I use is their ice gear.
I did grab one of their glides,
Which one?
and I took sandpaper to it and painted it myself.
Oh, I remember that. Yep.
Came out really good, actually.
Is it that one right there? That little one?
No.
Oh.
No,
it came
that
out
one
way
I got
better.
from a subscriber. And
Nice.
I've like been loath to send it because it's like, I'd really like it. It just looks nice. So it's been just chilling.
need to.
I know where I need to throw
I
that.
saw that up there. I was like, dang, that's a sexy color.
Yeah, it's a beautiful like brown trout. Yeah, and I
Yeah.
got that thing there too. Yeah, it's that.
Brown trout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I trust me. I know where I
Yes.
need to be throwing that.
Yeah, are you kidding me? How many of those did I catch up there on that?
Oh, they were so good though.
Oh my
Oh,
god, dude! We
man.
had after the tournament in the fall, you had caught one during the tournament. After the tournament, he's like, "I'm gonna go back out and see if we get another trout." And you got like another good like 2 brown trout from friggin' lake to fork in what 45 minutes, maybe,
Yeah,
maybe.
if that.
So good,
Oh my god.
phenomenal. All right, last one from the channel comments was from Bassman Strikes Kayak Fishing. Goals are to catch more fish and grow the channel. That's it. See? Nice and simple, straightforward. You cannot complain about that. So, all right, going to Instagram, which, by the way, for anybody that did take the time to respond to any of these, thank you very much. Like, it's nice that I can throw something up like that and get people to provide some feedback. It's nice. Wait, why? Where the hell? Oh, there we go. Interesting. Holy, okay, we got a couple more. All right, so from Nick, boost my confidence on jigs and did just that. My go-to bait now. That's what I like to hear, buddy. Then, Ian Fickert, I saw you in here. Catch a PB and missed it by half a pound. That's where I was talking about that earlier. He was
Brutal.
Oh
yeah.
man.
I like I like this one from Scott. To not tie on a Senko once. Crushed a 6-pounder on a bait. I've never thrown before. So
What, the Senko?
no, I
No,
think
he
there
didn't
was
throw a
2
Senko.
separate
Oh.
goals. Didn't
That
want
was
to
my
throw a
goal.
Senko.
Not
That
throw
was
a
his goal. I try not to throw a Senko every year, and then inadvertently I find myself in a tournament where I have to throw it twice.
Yeah, we
That
picked it
stupid
up.
thing's-
That freaking first or second cast with you caught a 5, and we're like, okay.
Longer for the day.
That's what I
Yep.
mean. Like when we were doing that Connecticut River tournament,
Oh yeah, and that,
I was like, dude,
5
just
and a half,
throw,
4 and a
throw
half.
that Senko out on that weed edge. He's like, I don't want to throw that Senko. And then he's like, woof, like,
dude.
yeah.
I can still see it. I'll never forget, and I wish I had a GoPro that captured
Dude, that
the
wake-
swirl that thing made when it turned.
It was like a freaking hippo coming out of the
God.
weeds.
Like, dude, it made a bigger swirl than any fish I've ever seen before, and it was only a 4.5 pounder.
Even the
Like,
one
I
that
still
missed the
can't-
depths on up north in the.
It was still a bigger swirl. It was a
was-
weed. What
It
was like
literally
that big
looked
around?
like a carp coming out of the water, like a 40-pound carp coming out. I was like, yeah, that's just a carp.
That's what. Yeah, I think that's what you had said too. But there was like a patch of lily pads about that big around, roughly.
Yeah, the whole
I-
thing. Like it was just.
You can't see my arms. Anyway,
Large.
whatever. It was large, like 4 feet in diameter, roughly.
Like this.
Like that. Okay, yeah. And it was just like this one isolated patch of lily pads. I threw that weightless Texas rig Senko right on the edge, and all of a sudden the whole thing just was like.
It literally looked like a bunch of carp, just like it was. I still remember it to this day, like
There could
sitting
have
on
been.
the
There's
back.
probably multiple fish under there. That
No, there was
swooped
just
out.
that one.
Really?
I think so.
Yeah, you could tell it was just that one.
And it took it was like a full second after. So you're gonna set the hook, and I was waiting because I didn't feel anything. All of a sudden, my line just started to go away from me. Set the hook.
I was like yelling at him. I was like, dude, set the hook! Like, come on! I saw that. Like,
Blowing we going's response. Kill tuna. Mission accomplished. Yeah, dude, you had a good year this year for that. Alec is in here. He also responded. Wait. Uh-oh. I can't. Hang on. We got a sick child, and my wife is asking me
Ruh-roh.
questions on when I gave him Motrin. Oh, I may have to go upstairs in a minute. Okay, so plot. Alex. To really learn how to fish, to jig fish. Caught my PB and won some money on the jig in 2022. That's what I like to hear. Friend. Oh, no. Went the wrong way. And then Greg, main goal was to start fishing tournaments. Results were rough, but learned a lot. Hell yeah. Dude, you did good in the Ben's Tackle Tournament, the last one of the year, on the Quabog. Quabog.
Quahog.
Quahog. Peter.
Quahog.
Peter Griffin and Quahog.
I saw a license plate coming up here today, or coming down here. Giggity.
Yes.
Wait, I think I've seen
A
that.
mass license plate.
No,
Oh,
never
this was
mind.
this
No,
was
I
a
saw
mass
one that was
license
New
plate.
Hampshire, and I'm pretty sure they had giggity on it.
I was like, oh, that's funny.
There's some good, random license plates like that around the area here. Like, my favorite
There's
one
a lot of them.
is... It's a Honda Accord, I'm pretty sure.
Later,
And
David.
the
Have a good
license
night,
plate-
bud.
Oh, later, buddy. Have a good night. The license plate says, and Dan.
No more, and then
Who else was here in the chat? Oh, Z-Fish. There you go. My goals for next year are 5+ out of Rhode Island, 20-plus pound bag at a Mass smallmouth, and a top 20 in the Hobie BOS on Cayuga.
Nice.
Solid goals. All
be
attainable, but all very, very solid goals. I like that.
Totally doable.
13 Fishing was bought by Rapala?
Apparently.
Really?
Wait, what do you think a Bass's favorite pizza topping would be?
Anchovies, probably.
I was literally just about to say that. How dare you?
Hot dogs.
Sankos.
What about-
Sankos.
Sankos and jigs.
Wait, I'll make a pizza with Sankos on it.
I know you will.
I like this from Mike. My goal was to not get upset and pissed off at inconsiderate people at the ramp and on the water, and I failed. Yeah, that's not a goal you should
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Just people are dumb, people suck, people are inconsiderate. You know what? F it. Either just 110% ignore it or let them have it. I'm just over just people in general.
Sick man bun. Hey, thanks.
Ditto.
Ooh.
Sick man bun. Huh. You want to see my 9 mil?
Thanks, Sean and
night.
Andrew, for giving us free juice every week. Is there a way to support the channel? Sick Man Bun 2 Deej. Drippy.
Drippy.
It's fantastic.
Dude, his hair, you would never know how long his hair is. Friggin' long.
Literally, if I let my hair down, it goes down my ass.
It's-
Last year when we were at the Berkshire, I think that was the first time I actually saw you with your hair down, like fully. And I went upstairs and I looked into his room and he's sitting there with a shirt. I think he just got out of the shower and his hair was all the way down to his ass or wherever the hell it ends. I was like, holy shit, what happened there? You forget I get a haircut?
Was that last year the first time I think I saw you with the hair down?
Yeah.
We were walking up. John, there's a random woman in here. No, I didn't say that. I'm not mean. I like Cam. Goal for next year. Not suck. Straightforward, to the point, easy to accomplish. That's how you set goals. You know what? I'm trying to think if there's, on the topic of goals, is there anything you regret not really targeting harder this year? That goes for you too, chat. Like a
tough
byproduct
one.
of one of your goals or something that came up mid-year, whatever it be. I don't know. Like you were focused on one thing and something happened. You're like, oh, you know what? That's actually something that I would like to learn because I either have the gear or my friend does it and he does really well with it. And I forgot that was something I wanted to do. Like, I don't know. I'm just trying to think along the lines of those because I can think of something that I definitely regret not putting more time in on.
Self-control.
That
No, I'm just
If it's
pretty
not
overall.
something-
I was pretty pumped with my goals. Like, taught myself how to fish deep a little bit more. Learned how to fish a jig a little bit better. My other goal was to get the boat up to 80, which will happen next year.
what'd you get up to?
78.
Damn.
What?
78 miles an hour.
In his boat. You haven't even gone for a ride in that thing
I
yet.
know. I want to.
Dude, next time we're up there, it's a different feeling when
We
you're
were
like
gonna
doing
go.
74 and it starts like, it's not really chine walking, but it's like, it's not steady either.
Even
but
at
it's just like,
78, once
We
you
were-
get
we were
past
on
that
the
70 mark, it stops chine walking and it just.
oh my God.
We were on the front deck of the Airbnb, which is like a few hundred feet from the water.
I made 2 separate reels of that.
And I know, I have one too.
I love that. It's so good.
And,
I like the original one, the voice in it.
Meme.
Yeah.
Rap.
Yeah, that's what it was. Brap.
And we just hear something coming up the lake. All you hear is and then we're like, what the fuck? What is that? And we're like, wait a minute, that might be DJ. And I just right by the lake. I'm like, holy shit, he's going so fast.
I wasn't even going fast by the lake. I was only doing like probably 50 when I do the flyby, but up the lake. On average, I've got a Phoenix 721 Pro XP with the new 250 4-stroke. And on average, tournament load, I'll get between 72 and 75 miles an hour, full tournament load. Did a couple mods this year and I tuned it up a little bit and got 78. Couple more tweaks. The new prop, I'm trying to get to 80 is my goal for this next year.
That would be insane. If you're over 70 with a full tournament load, especially on a 21-foot boat, you're
Yeah.
Damn,
You're golden.
We drew fifth boat. It's fine.
yeah.
That's what I mean. We do that all the time. Me and Alex are like, what number do we get? Who cares? We're going to pass everybody anyways.
Versus like us, where it's like if we ain't number one, we're fucked. We're never getting our first spot.
Nope.
Sure as shit.
Wait,
We
they're
got
not
number
looking.
two.
Go.
Number 2 is about the same as number 10 in this one, bud.
That's like the first year we did the Berkshire. Like, where's DJ? Where's DJ? Where's he? Holy shit! That
Oh,
thing's
yeah.
Oh,
fast.
that video?
Whoa!
Well, I
God
was looking
damn!
because I didn't know if we were cutting over before to get around that point,
Yeah.
or if we were just going to stay straight and then wait for everyone to go around us and then we cut in. So I was like looking over. My glasses go flying off the back of the boat.
Oh, my
Oh
God.
no, really?
yeah,
Oh,
brand,
yeah.
brand new pair of those.
Oakley's.
And I bought them like 3 days before. And I'm like, yeah, he's coming up on your left. And it was just,
Oh, that's another good one. Oh, yeah. Like we were
dude,
standing
that
still.
was so ridiculous.
I like that. Sean, when, if you buy a new to you boat, what brand would you prefer to buy? Well, assuming that all,
That's tricky because there's so many new things coming out too.
You want a Camus?
I really do. Okay, so throwing money out the
The
window,
new Falcons
Camus.
are pretty sweet too.
Those are wicked nice.
Like, if I get another boat other than a Phoenix, it'd probably be a Falcon.
Yep. I really like the look of the Camus CX21, and because I got to see it in person, the new Ranger Z521R. Holy shit, that is by far one of the most beautiful boats I've ever seen.
It may be beautiful, but it's an old man boat, and you'll go 35 max.
Well, and that's the thing I'm waiting to hear, because apparently that's what they, like, one big part of what they
Now you
redid
could
this
throw a
hull
400R
for,
on it.
so they can get more speed out of it.
Yeah, but you can't do most tournaments with anything over,
Over
250.
250, yeah.
Yeah, club tournaments.
Exactly.
Most club tournaments follow Bass rules, though. And they're the ones that set the horsepower limit. But don't go from Phoenix to Falcon. Oh, there you go. Straight from Joe. Slow ass Ranger. Dude, it may be slow. I don't know yet. I haven't seen the numbers on it. I am curious if it breaks that stigma that's Chase Ranger forever. But I got to tell you, that was seriously one of the most beautiful boats I've ever seen. Like, I leaning up against the damn thing and everything. The thing is gorgeous, and it's huge.
You got Jacob Wheeler with his new boat company coming out.
Oh, yeah, Icon, I think
Yeah,
it was.
something like that.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting, actually.
I would
It's
say,
definitely different.
based on everything I know right now, Camus CX21 is number one. Second to that, probably a Phoenix 920 Elite. Is it the Elite 921 or 921 Elite? I guess it doesn't matter. The Elite. And then third to that, oh God, I'd probably actually look at a Skeeter ZXR because I got to see that in person too. That is a gorgeous boat. And for all intents and purposes, it's nearly the same as the FXR, just without some of the, I guess,
That's a
unnecessary
big
bells and
Phoenix.
whistles.
Like, that's a big boat.
I want a big old bitch.
Like, that's a giant boat. I have the 721 because I wanted that, like, it's still a 21 footer and it fishes great and it handles the big water, but it is just so much faster than most anything out there between the Phoenix line, I think. Like, yeah, the 21,
PHX.
yeah, and the 921 Elites, yeah, they're cool boats, but mine will still beat yours.
Yep. You know what? As long as I can get
And I've still
knocking
got
on
plenty of fishing room, like huge front deck. Yeah, of course, it may be like, what, an inch wider at parts? That's about it, I think.
yeah.
There's really not much difference.
I'd have to go. It's one of those, like, when the time comes and I can really start looking at boats, which right now I am actively working on something for 2023. And that's the most I'll say, because I don't want to jinx myself. But we're working on something. I will have to go and actually look and sit in and walk around in these boats, because my primary goal is 1A, 1B guiding, 1A, 1B tournaments. So I need to find a happy balance between plenty of real estate with a
Makes
250,
sense.
period. So that I can easily get Andrew and I and potentially two other people in the boat and still get that whole load up on plane easily enough, which with the 250 shouldn't be an issue. But then plenty enough room for people to still be able to easily maneuver around while still also getting, ideally, 70 plus miles an hour in a full tournament load with Andrew and I.
That right there, that 21 PHX is probably the best bet.
Yeah. So that's,
Yeah, especially when we guiding. People don't really like to get their teeth rattled out of their face.
no. And,
Well,
okay,
that's a good thing about the Phoenixes is
great question.
they're ridiculously smooth riding. It's That's going to
Let me
be
back
my goal
this
for
up.
this year, is to get you out on the Phoenix.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I
do you
wanna
get to
go.
experience it?
We should just, yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
gonna be working Mondays?
I don't know.
I like the Lund, but I fish way too much skinny water. Like, Andrew knows better than anybody. Like, we literally spend half our year between 6 inches and 80 feet of water. So I need something that I can take into swampy, super shallow water.
Also, another reason why I went with the Phoenix, because you can get that thing in 2 inches of water.
Yeah, that thing drafts wicked shallow. I like
want an
that.
aluminum boat.
Do I
bad.
still want a Yamaha? I'm indifferent. I was actually talking to Joe, who's here in the chat, about those new Suzukis and how bulletproof they are. I was actually talking to my buddy TJ too. I think we talked about that, and he said the same thing. Those Suzukis, those newer Suzuki outboards are supposed to be like bulletproof. And that I care more about than anything else. As long as I've got a good service center for it, then I'm going to prioritize looking at something like that if I can order a boat new. If I'm looking at something used, I would say I really don't care. I like the new shows. I've been very happy with mine. I really like those new Mercuries. I've heard more good about them than bad.
I mean, I've heard 50-50, because like mine never had an issue. Am I easy on it? No. I beat the death out of it.
Yep. And you got one of the first year releases of it too.
The very first year releases.
Yep.
Which everybody's like, don't get that. It's terrible. I'm like, I'm not nice to my motor at all.
Right.
And I've never once had an issue.
Yep. Wait, where that Lund's slow and too heavy, man. Yeah, but dude, if you haven't been in that Pro V 2075 Pro V, whatever. Anyway, that best rough water riding boat I've ever been in.
Is that what Smallmouth Freaks has?
Yep.
They are
It's a friggin'
gorgeous
aircraft
boats.
carrier.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's sweet.
Yeah, then there's this, but the sound of that Mercury Pro XS starting up is pure
you're
sex.
right. Yes, it is.
It's
The
so
sound
good.
of it? Oh,
yeah.
yeah. You hear it from across the lake.
And it's crazy too, because you can still talk to each other while you're ripping down the lake at 70. It's not like the two-stroke. We're like, what?
I can't remember. Because we did that Connecticut River tournament in my Ranger with the old Pro XS two-stroke. And then the next year we did it in your boat. And you're like, we're going down the river doing 70, whatever it was we had hit. And you're like, and you looked over, like, yeah, see, we can have a normal conversation while I'm running too. I was like, holy shit. Versus like, we're doing 20 in the old Ranger. And it's like, can't hear anything. No, I'm not getting a 19. I'm not getting another 19-foot boat. I'm getting at least a 20-footer with a 250. That is my absolute goal. Oh, when you want to network a Mercury with all the Lowrance, electronics, and Ghost. Not necessary, though easier to go that way. But I can network in a show with everything else. I've confirmed that. It's just, I guess, not necessarily more difficult, but I would assume to be more expensive. Although, I am going to...
I haven't heard many issues with that happening, though. Mercury with the Lowrance electronics and Ghosts. There's a lot of guys that do that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's, if I were to go with a Yamaha show, I wouldn't have that. Whereas I'm going to stick with Lowrance and, well, both for my graphs and my trolling motor.
Right.
Yeah, what is it? January 19th. I have an all-day training to become NEMA 2000 install certification.
Nice.
Yeah, be cool. Work my way up.
Get it.
Learn all those things. Fun stuff. You know what's funny? One of the things we were supposed to talk about, too, was 2023 goals. But I think I'm going to say that for next week. SmartCraft gauge is just as good. Yeah. There's a number of ways you can go about it. And like I know on the, I'm not sure if you can do it on the carbons, but I'm pretty sure you can. And I know on the HDS Lives, you absolutely can. You can have all of your engine like information display on there. And you can, through the NEMA network, connect the show to a Lowrance network. So you can have all your engine information display up on that as well. I know it can be done. I confirm that. Something like that. I don't know. SmartCraft gauge, I think, is for Mercury only.
Yeah, I have the SmartCraft. I also have the Vessel View. That's pretty sweet.
Maybe Vessel View is the one. I thought SmartCraft was specific to Mercury. Whatever. There's a number of different ways you can do it.
Vessel View is what I have for the Mercury. And it's super cool because I can just have everything on my phone, and it gives me all my diagnostics. It gives me like my true RPMs, my hours, everything like that. Hook the boat up to it.
69.8, baby.
There you go.
That's just the hours.
Yeah, I know. It's a 69, though.
Oh.
Yamaha has one too, different name. Oh, okay. There you go. TV18, big swim bait. Yeah, big swim bait. That would be, I want to continue to focus on that, specifically glides. Last year, no, the year before, 2020 was like the year of wake baits for me. And then last year was the year of like diving big swim baits for me. And now this year it was like I thought it was gonna be more of those big diving crank or swim baits, and it just didn't pan out. But glides, even though I only caught a few fish, it was like just eye opening for how much more fun but also beneficial throwing glides are compared to like all of the other ones. Although soft body swim baits have always been in the mix, and that will continue to be in the mix. But
Yeah, I
2023 is more
definitely
glide fishing.
Do want to get
Oh, my knee.
more into that big soft body swim bait game. Fish them real slow.
Yep.
Big bites.
Yeah. I'm not doing it with Navico. I'm doing it directly through NEMA. Yeah, they offered a virtual training. Is it the 19th? Yeah, it's January 19th, Thursday. So whatever day that is, right around that date. Pretty sure that's it. I don't know. Drawing a blank all of a sudden, but I'm pretty sure I have it right. Guggen Slayer, thank you very much, buddy. Appreciate you. Swim bait season, Royal Chiba. Yes, more big baits next year.
Big baits.
Tell you what, we'll talk about that more next week because it'll be a good way to start off the 2023 season, and it'll give a chance for more people to get more involved directly during the stream. And on the plus side, then we can really pick it apart. Poor choice of words. Better. What? Help. Not pick it apart, but pick it apart. Trying to just hear what other people's goals are. We can offer our insight and guidance and assistance to help set you on the right path for those that want it. Because I know there's like a couple of guys in here that definitively, like, if they say something, I'm just gonna, I 110% believe in what you're doing because those guys are hammers and they know what they're doing. They're great people who like to come out and hang out and talk and listen. But for anybody else that wants to come in and we can talk about your goals next year, and if you want, we can offer our insight and guidance and opinion and hopefully set you up to hit the ground running when your open water season starts for 2023. So that'll be next week. Yep. One thing before anybody goes, we are on Spotify now, and I'm going to try to remember to put a link to that down in the comments on every single one of these streams moving forward. But yeah, we're on Spotify. The first 2 episodes are up there. I think it was episode 88.
89.
No, it was 88. 88, 9, 90, 91. Yep. Okay, so this will be episode 5. So episode 88 of the streams on YouTube is episode 1 on Spotify. And that's where our jump-off point was. I thought about going back. I talked to the guys from Bass and Brews. They gave me some really good insight, made some decisions based on everything else I was doing, time of the year for the topics. Ultimately, it didn't make sense to go any further back than that. So that was our jump-off point. I make sure to put that in the description below in Spotify so it's all really, really clear in there. But now you have the option. This is always location number 1. This is always the primary source. We will always be here every Wednesday doing this live because this live interaction is what I truly enjoy most about doing this.
Unless one of us is sick, then I'll probably be at home.
Then there's that. But at
I'll
least it's
stream
still
from my
live.
house.
And I'm super pumped I finally actually got to make it down for one of
Yeah,
these.
dude.
Finally. After how many years of, I swear, I'll come down.
Almost exactly 2 years to the day.
Yeah.
We are literally 1 week away from starting this exactly 2 years ago.
Nice.
Which is
Crazy.
pretty awesome. Now we have to start thinking. We really need to start thinking about episode 100 special.
Oh. Figure out a way to do something.
Is that what the $2 bill was
I'll
for?
give you guys a $2 bill.
I got you $1. I got you a $2.
I got you $2. I don't know why I put that down there. I saw that dollar and was like, I have a $2 bill. Let's put it next to it.
Yeah, so I was like,
It's twice as good.
The other $1 was from our swear jar day.
I actually got a tip today in a $2 bill.
Interesting.
He's like,
it's
"Here,
not a silver
use
note,
this.
is it?
Can't spend it anywhere. Thanks.
Yes, you can.
No, I tested it. It's still good.
As I say, it's still legal currency. It's just they
no,
don't
it's
print it.
1976.
Oh, that's not a silver dollar then. I have dozens of those that are all like silver
That was printed
dollars or silver
1976.
notes, whatever the hell they are.
Yeah.
Brand new, dude.
Anyway, thank you all for watching. Greatly appreciate it. Before we go, DJ, tell them where they can find you on your social medias.
Everywhere. 3D Fishing on Instagram. 3D_fishing on Instagram. Facebook, 3D Fishing. I think that's about it. I think I got a TikTok out there. It's probably 3D Fishing as well. Not super active there, but hoping to get back
There you
into it this year.
I got you.
Follow some cool content. I do a lot of ice fishing.
I know it. Never mind. Sorry.
Andrew, give
I
away
saw
the
Alex
customer
comment and I
artwork.
forgot that I drew him something on his package.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
Sorry.
I forgot
go
about
ahead,
that.
finish up.
always big supporters of these guys, as they've always been big supporters of me. One of my big supporters, Z Bait Co., which you guys, if you do know me, you already know. But yeah, it's been cool to finally actually make it down here for one of these.
Yeah, dude, we're happy to have you on.
Yeah,
I'm
go
glad you're
follow
going to make
him.
the drive down.
He's a hammer.
Yep, he knows what he's doing. So if he says something he's doing, pay attention. Other than that, I think that's it. So Andrew, go ahead and sign her off. We'll see you guys next week. Hey, wait.
What?
You got that video done for Friday?
No,
Are you going to have it done for Friday?
I'm hoping. I'm going to try like hell.
If there's no video Friday,
That's my fault.
that's his fault.
It might
He's
be
going to
Saturday.
throw us off the schedule.
Might be Saturday.
I don't upload on Saturdays.
I know, but you might have to.
We'll make it
Have
work.
to.
All right, anyway, do the sign off.
I forgot what I was gonna say. I had something in my head that I was gonna say, but it doesn't matter. Whatever.
sorry, I blew it
The
up.
stream is over. We will see you guys next week on Wednesday, like every other Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time at youtube.com/603bass. Thanks for coming to hang out.
Bye. Have a beautiful time.
Bye.